So, because the recording of the 5k baseline test wouldn't save, I am doing a presentation of the last 4 weeks of my training. My goal for this new series and training plan is to improve my 5k time of 17:48, hopefully without injuring my rather fragile limbs that seem to want me to stop me running at all costs. I got this time on the 23rd of March last year, as well as PBs in the 800, 221, and the 1500, 441, before my knee decided, despite doing more than enough strength training and recovery, to put me out of commission for a few months. My mileage at the time, around 50 kilometres a week. Anyway, now that rant is over with, it's time to talk about some goals. I have an A goal, a B goal, and a C goal. The main mission of this training plan is to go under 17 minutes, which would mean averaging less than 3 minutes and 24 seconds per kilometre, or 3 minutes and 28 seconds per mile. This will require a lot of training and pretty much the perfect race. The only difference between A and B is when I manage it, with A being before September and B being before 2026. And for if I don't manage to do this at all, I have set a C goal at the more reasonable but still slightly deranged 17:29 before January. Now, to know my starting fitness, I needed to do a 5k baseline test, which I did on the 1st of February at the flat but still slightly slippy course of Penrith Park Run. I had no idea what pace I wanted to run, so just went to the start line, set up my camera, and prepared to race. Unfortunately for me, before most of the runners had even got to the start line, the marshals begun the race. In that chaos, I must have double-clicked my camera and turned it off, so I'm just going to tell you about the race. So, despite the rush start, I managed a very quick first kilometre of 3:31. I was in about 10th place at the time, so doing alright to pass some people over the next few kilometres. Kilometre 2 was a 3:38, so a slight decrease in pace, but that was to be expected. I was now in about 6th place. My legs were beginning to tire, but again, it's to be expected when setting off at sub-18 pace when nowhere near that level of fitness. Kilometre 3 was a drastic slowdown, a 3:47, still staying strong in 6th place, but rather worried that there was still another 2 kilometres to go. In Kilometre 4, I rallied slightly to a 3:43 and started running behind another runner who was looking very strong at this point. My legs felt pretty dead, but I knew that I had a bit left for the final kilometre. But unfortunately, on the day, my mental strength was just not there. My 5th kilometre was the slowest of the day at 3:51. And this would still put me around about 18:30, an okay baseline, but due to inaccuracies at my watch, and starting my watch a little bit late due to the rush start, the finishing time was only an 18:50. I also got passed. Now that shameful performance is out of the way, let's talk about my last 4 weeks of training. The training plan and what actually happened. So the first week went to plan. I did exactly what the training plan said. 6km easy on Monday and Friday, a training session with 30 minutes on the bike before and after on Tuesday and Thursday. A point to note is that these sessions could be anything. My coach does not say until we're there and the warm-up is finished. The 2 rest days, at Wednesday and Friday, I did that. And then finally a nice 10km run on Sunday with 60 minutes on the bike after. The second week was more or less the same, the only exception being the hill session on Saturday. However, at the training session on Thursday, I didn't feel it was quite hard enough. It was 10 by 100 metres with 2 minutes rest in between. So, to compensate, I went for a 5km tempo, a 4 minute per kilometre pace on Friday. After this, I went on holiday from Sunday to Wednesday and couldn't cycle. As well as this, whilst travelling on Sunday, I got about 4 hours of sleep. So, instead of doing 10 kilometres, I decided to do 13. Makes complete sense. Anyway, so once I got back, I started to feel some pain on my left hip, so I took it a bit easier on Thursday's session, hoping that it would settle. Unfortunately, this was not the case, and I ended up making it worse. Just what I needed. So, for the next week or so, I didn't run. I did some extra cycling and walking to try and compensate. So, the next time I ran was the English Schools Cross Country Cup final. And it didn't hurt that much while running, which is great, but afterwards my leg seized up and it didn't feel great for a couple of hours. So that brings me to today. My hip is feeling a lot better than yesterday, but I'm still afraid to run in it. Advice for how to recover and prevent this from happening again would be greatly appreciated. Right, so let's move on to some of the more exciting stuff. I'm excited to say that at some point I will be taking on the Three Peaks Challenge. This involves climbing the highest mountains in England, Scotland, and Wales, all within 24 hours. It will happen at some point during the summer, and I will be going with some of the other people on the kangaroo expedition. But some of the details are yet to be confirmed. Secondly, I'm going to be training up to do 1,000 push-ups in under 1 hour. This will definitely be a hard one, but I will be routinely sharing my progress. I also have another one I'm planning, and I've got to say I'm very excited for this one. However, it's a little bit too early in development to reveal.